my dad is currently on personal independent payment, a proud scaffolder all of his life. Trust me when I say that he is not happy to be sat at home. He would much rather be contributing to society. But his hips are giving up on him, and the NH wait lists are so long that he's been told he has no choice but to stay at home. Now, home life is difficult. He doesn't score 4 points on any particular measure, but he can't move around like he used to, and he needs support to manage the basics. PIP doesn't solve everything, but it does give him dignity and independence to help live his life while he waits for treatment. And cutting his entitlement won't incentivise him back into work. He needs no incentive. He just needs treatment. Now, with the government's recent announcement, I do understand that my dad will no longer lose out. But the next person like him will. And the Secretary of State earlier talked about a better tomorrow. But her proposals mean discounting the value of tomorrow's disabled, saying they are less worthy of support for today's. And it's for that reason that I still cannot support this bill. Now, let me be clear. I agree that the welfare bill is too high, but we have to look at why that is. It is not because we have suddenly become a work-shy nation. It is because we have become less well. And if the government were serious about reducing the welfare bill, they would focus solely on fixing the root causes of chronic ill health, a broken social care system, and a mental health crisis among our young people. And while this bill does do good things, and I'm sure that the reviews to come will propose more good things to address the reasons why people are out of work, that is not its primary driver. The motivation for this bill was made clear in its timing, just before the Chancellor's spring statement, with the core savings not from helping people back into work, but through tightening the eligibility criteria for a disability benefit. It removes too carers allowance from thousands of unpaid carers, people who provide tireless, often invisible care that props up our NHS and social care system. Taking away their support is not just unjust, but it is economically reckless. And let's be honest about the consequences. The government's own impact assessment says that this bill will push hundreds of thousands of people into poverty by 2029. How can anyone in this place look at those figures and truly believe that the government is making these reforms to help people rather than balance the books? Now, I appreciate that some will feel that the new deal struck over the weekend is a fair compromise. And it may be in political theory, but in practice, it remains unsupported by disability groups and unsupported by the public. The majority of the country see this bill for what it is, an unfair cost-cutting exercise. This is not reform, it's retreat. A retreat from compassion, from evidence, and from the values that should underpin our welfare state. And I believe that there is a better way, a fairer way, one that supports people into work by investing in health and care, not punishing them for being ill. One that helps disabled people live independently, not strips them of the support that they need to survive. One that values carers rather than treating them as an afterthought. And one that doesn't arbitrarily divide between today's disabled and tomorrow's. And that is why I will support the member for York Central in her reasoned amendment, and I will vote against this bill at the second reading. We believe that reform must be fair, sustainable and rooted in dignity. Madam Deputy Speaker, my dad wants to work. He is not looking for a handout. He wants to be well again. And I believe there are many more like him, and this bill will make their futures worse. I urge members to think carefully about the legacy of tonight's vote. Vote for compassion, vote for fairness, and vote against this bill.